Welcome class back to chapter 10, files and exceptions. This is the last lecture video, the fourth one. We'll cover the two objectives, storing data and refactoring code. So many of your programs will ask users to input certain kinds of information. You might allow users to store preferences in a game or provide data for visualization. Whatever the focus of your program is, you'll store the information the users provide in data structures such as lists and dictionaries. When users close a program, you'll almost always want to save the information they entered. So a simple way to do this involves storing your data using the JSON module. Now the JSON module allows you to convert simple Python data structures into JSON formatted strings and then load the data from that file the next time the program runs. You can also use JSON to share data between different Python programs. Even better, the JSON data format is not specific to just Python. So you can share data you store in the JSON format with people who work in many other programming languages. So it is very useful and portable. So we're going to use JSON dumps and loads. Okay, when we are going to store data, we'll go ahead and use the dumps method, and then we'll go ahead and use loads when we want to go ahead and load our data. So we're going to code number_writer, and number_writer is simply going to take our list of numbers, okay, write it to a variable contents, and then we'll use the method write_text to write that information out. Now the path is numbers.json file. Okay, I'm going to show you in my file structure that numbers JSON file does not exist. Let's go ahead and run this program. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and open up numbers JSON, and there is our numbers list. So in addition to importing path library, we want to make sure that when we're working with JSON that we go ahead and import the JSON module. Next, we'll go ahead and look how we can use the loads method to load our data. As mentioned before, we'll use JSON.loads. So we have a new example called number_reader, and we're going to simply read numbers.json file that we created with the number writer Python file. So we use the path here. We use read text method, okay, to read our contents into one single string with read text, and then we're going to use contents as our argument for the loads method. Okay, and we print out and we get our list. Next, we just expand to getting our data from our user. So saving and reading user generated data. So how do we save? Well, we use the dumps method. In this case, we use an input prompt. I'm going to store that information in username, and that's ultimately what we're going to write out. Okay, so new file, remember_me. Go ahead and run. What is your name? Yeah, I need a better prompt there. I need a space. Okay, so let's go ahead and enter that in there so that we have some good professional prompting there. Next, we look at how to retrieve, again, just using the username.json file. Okay, so new file, greet_user. Again, reading username.json and using the load method. So let's go ahead and look at username.json first. Okay, so there's my name. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and run it, and it says welcome back, Amy. Now we're going to combine those two programs, remember_me and greet_user, into one file, and we're going to use our try, except, and else block. So the try is going to try to retrieve the username. So we're going to see if username.json exists. Okay, if it exists, we'll go ahead and jump to the else block. If the file name does not exist, that's when we'll go ahead and save our username. So just to show you the process here a little bit, I just added in if path.exists, okay, and this is in greet user. and then the lines that are there for the if statement. Now the else side is going to be in remember me, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this information. I'm going to grab the username here as well. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that path as soon as I move it over here. Okay, so I don't need that anymore because that's outside of my if structure. So it's just a matter of copying and pasting the lines that you need, and then go ahead and indent where you need to indent them. Okay, so just a quick save of saving that file as remember_me2, just so that I wouldn't lose my two versions of those two files. So let's go ahead and run this. It should come back and say welcome back Amy. Let's go ahead and delete username.json so that we can test this out, okay, without it. And then we'll go ahead and run. It's prompting me. Got that space in there now. I'll put Sam in there. And remember, you've come back Sam. If we run it again, we get welcome back Sam. Next, we're going to modify our code for refactoring. And what refactoring is it makes our code cleaner, it makes it easier to understand, and easier to extend. So we're going to look at page 204, and then we're going to look at pages 204 and 205 to even modify even further and even into page 206. As we go about refactoring. So the first version of this is to create a function called greetUser. So this is the code that we left off with before. If username exists, okay, we'll go ahead and welcome them back. If not, we'll go ahead and create the file. So if we run this right now, okay, we go ahead and get our welcome back Sam, because that was the last username that I entered. Now I'm going to go ahead and look at refactoring it even further. Okay, because right now greetUser has a lot of functionality, a lot of different tasks to it. So we're going to go ahead and refactor by creating a function called getStoredUsername, okay, in addition to our greetUser. Okay, so the start of our getStoredUsername, and then we're going to move the if path exists code. Okay, so we're going to move that, and then we're going to do a return statement. So I moved the if path exists from the first portion of greetUser, added the return username, added an else of return none, and now I need to go in here and change this statement here. We want to leave the path, okay, and then we're going to add in username equals, we're going to call getStoredUsername function, okay, and we're going to send along the path. Okay, and then we're going to say if username, if that username exists, we're going to do that welcome back, and I should have left that in there, but I'll just go ahead and retype it again. Okay, so now in addition, we have that getStoredUsername. Okay, and we're just going to test if the username exists. So let's go ahead and run this. We still get the same functionality. So now we're going to add in one more function. I know, right? Another function called getNewUsername, and you're going to do that right below getStoredUsername. Okay, and then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving some of this else into that particular function. So page 205. Okay, so I moved the else into getUsername, and now we're just going to go ahead and in place of where those statements were at, we're going to go ahead and call getNewUsername. Again, sending along the path variable. I've now deleted the username.json file, and then I'm going to go ahead and test this. Okay, and this needs to have a capital N on none. Let's go ahead and run it again. Okay, so what is your name? Okay, we'll remember you back when you come back, and then we'll go ahead and run it again, and it says welcome back Amy. So again, my prompt though, I gotta find my prompt here, put that space in there. So just to summarize, okay, so we took the tasks and kind of separated them out. We're initially going to call greetUser. and then greet user sets up the path, okay, of username.json file. We call get stored username. Get stored username is going to see if username.json file exists. If it does, we're going to read the contents and we're going to return that username back down to here, this call, and store it in username. Okay, and we prompt them. Okay, if username does not exist, we go to the else and we call get new username, which that goes ahead and goes through the prompt, returns that back down to username, and then we output will remember you when you come back, and then the username. So again, that's called refactoring, and that's a very good practice to work with, separating out the tasks of your code into different functions. So now let's go ahead and look at your lab, which is going to build on this particular file here. So we look at verifying user 10-14. So the final listing of Remember Me assumes either that user has already entered their username or that the program is running for the first time. We should modify it in case the current user that is stored in username.json was not the person that is using the program now. Okay, so in your code, you're going to have to figure out where you're going to enter this information in. And I'll give you a hint, okay? It's in greet user. It's in this area right here. You're going to prompt them and ask them if they are, because now we're saying username does exist. And I want you to prompt them with something, are you, and then I want you to do the username and then a yes or no. And then you'll have an if structure that is seeing if they entered in yes or no, and then you'll respond accordingly with a function call for one end and the other one just the welcome back message here. So if you have any questions on this section or anything within chapter 10, please let me know. Thank you.